another way to spell the sh sound. There's 3. This one is CI. Who knew that? Is your mind blown? So SH, TI, and CI all say the same thing. As long as those last 2, the TI and the CI, they have to have 2 requirements. The first requirement is it has to be toward the end of a multisyllable word, and there has to be a vowel after it. So again, in order for TI and CI, in order for TI and CI to say shh, they have to be toward the end of a word, and there has to be a vowel right after it. Now, here's how you can know, for the most part, I mean, spelling is difficult because there are so many exceptions, but here's the pattern that you can rely on most of the time to make an educated assumption. If you're wondering if it's a TI or a CI, TI is often in nouns and states of being, but CI is almost always, well, CIAN anyway, a profession. You're going to see CIAN, somebody who does something for work mostly, like a physician is going to be spelled that way with that CIAN at the end, or a musician is somebody who practices music professionally, or a magician. Okay, so CIAN says the same thing as TION. Those both say shun, but the CI is going to be used for professions. And today, all of our words are going to be professions, okay? They're all nonsense words, and so I am declaring that every nonsense word that you're going to see today is a professional job. So I want you to know that every sh that you will encounter in the words today will be spelled with a CI. Don't worry if it's an SH or a TI. It's going to be a CI. I also just want to kind of throw out there, I've said this before, but it takes a lot of repetition for things to sink in. SH is used at the beginning of words or at the end of short words. SH is used at the beginning of words like shatter or shipwreck, or at the end of short words like dish and fish, most of the time. So if we're thinking about longer words and that sh is toward the end of a longer word, it's probably going to be a TI. TI is most common, but once in a while you'll see those CIs, and so I wanted to throw that in our lesson for today. All right, so let's get spelling. How are you feeling so far with that new knowledge? All right, so today, just to kind of keep things clear and simple, when you hear sh, spell it with a CI. All right, let's begin our work. So these are all going to be professions. Well, okay. One more little thing. My goal is to not overwhelm you. CIAN, as I already told you, usually going to be a profession. But you'll also see CI with AL at the end, shull. And that's usually like an adjective, like artificial or partial. No, that's a TI. CIAL, special. You're going to see CIAL at the end of words that usually describe something. CIAN and CIAL are those are going to be the most common word parts that include the CI. Okay, so our first word that we're going to read together is plotion. Plotion. I think this is somebody who bakes bread. Plotion. Let's split up those sounds. So we have p, l, o, sh, n. Consonants first. P, l, o, sh in this lesson is always going to be spelled with a C-I. Now, this is the unit that I want you to begin to recognize is spelled C-I-A-N. Most of the units all of the units actually that you're going to spell today are C-I-A-L or C-I-A-N. That A is changing to the schwa sound. And if you were here in, if you were here in A month, you'll remember that when A comes almost to the end of a longer word, it says So that follows the rule right there. Okay, your word is, let's finish this one. And then we have that O that's making the O sound because there's a vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. So there's plotion. Plotion. Okay, your word is trotion. Trotion. Go ahead. Trotion. Good. Yeah, feel free to put it in the chat for me. Helps me to see how you're doing. So it's going to be either this ending or this ending, just to keep things simple. So for trotion, our consonants are T, O. Sh is going to be spelled with a C-I today because it's a profession. And then we're ending with an N. Now C-I-A-N is how this unit is spelled at the end of words. And then our O is going to be spelled with an O. So far, so good? Okay, hanging in there? All right, number 2. Basial. Basial. Let's do this one together. B-A-sh-a-ul. Consonants. B-A-sh-a-ul. This unit is usually, when you hear shul at the end of a word like this with a C-I, it's going to be spelled with an A, just like that one right over there. Our endings are going to be C-I-A-L or C-I-A-N. And then for basial, our A sound is going to be spelled with an A because there's a vowel 2 doors down. Good job. All right, your word without me is cratial. Cratial. Go ahead. Cratial. Excellent. If you're wondering if you're going to spell this K sound with a C or a K, then I would like to give you that information. We always, I'm just going to write this down right here so you can put it in your notebook. Always spell the K sound. These 2 diagonal lines right here mean the sound of. When you see a letter in 2 diagonal lines, it means the sound of. So always spell the K sound with a C. Unless the only time you don't is if the next letter is E, I, or Y. That is the only time you spell with a K. So you will only see words that have a K in it if the next letter is an E, I, or Y. And we're going to have a whole lesson on that, don't you worry. So always spell the K sound with a C unless the next letter is an E, I, or Y. All right. So back to our word here. Hopefully you got that. Maybe I'll just move it down a little bit in case you're copying it down. All right, so we know that this K is going to be spelled with a C. And then we have a here. Cratial, K, or A, sh, ul. When we have this CI unit, it's going to be spelled with an A right here. And then our A sound is going to be spelled with a long A just fine because there's another vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. How are you doing? Put in the chat how you're doing so far. I want to make sure that everybody is feeling fine about what we're learning. Okay, so far so good. All right. Yay. If you put a K in that word, it's my fault. It's because I didn't tell you. And I thought about it too. I wonder if I should tell them to use a C right here instead of a K. So if you used a K, that was my fault because I didn't tell you that rule ahead of time. All right, let's kick it up just a half of a notch, We're going to spell the word together, tellition. And I think this is somebody that climbs up telephone poles to work on electrical wires. We're going to call this a tellition. So the sounds are t, whoops, I need a pen. T, e, l, I, sh, n. 3-syllable word because there are 3 vowels that don't touch. The sounds, consonants are t, e, l, I, sh, n. You with me so far? We know that this shun with a CI is spelled with an A right here. Now, let's go to the beginning. Let me just see. I think we have some speed demons here who are already spelling it. Thanks for showing me that. Okay, so for our sound, we're going to use an E. However, can this E say E? Can this E say here? It can't because there's another vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. That would force that to say E. So what do you have to do to make this say You have to add an L. If there's not 2 consonants after it, you make 2 consonants after it. Now for I in the middle, for the I sound, I always spells the I sound. And this I doesn't need 2 consonants after it because of that confident rule that we learned a couple lessons ago. When I is in the middle syllable, it gets to say I regardless of what comes after it. So that one was, okay, maybe that one was a step and a half harder than I promised. I told you it was going to be a half step harder, but it was a little bit tricky. But keep this one in mind while you spell this one on your own. Your word is trefission. Trefission. Like elbow. Trefission. And remember how our shun is going to be spelled with a CI. Nice, Sarah. There we go. Trefission. Brilliant, Clement. Well done. Okay. So for our consonants, am I going too fast? I'll give it another second here. Trefission. So our consonants, t, f, I, sh, n. I know it's a CI unit, so that's going to be spelled with an A right there. And I'm going to call a trefission somebody who makes waffles for a living. Okay, vowels. So we have the E that's going to spell the S sound. However, it can't say in this spot because there's a vowel in the next 1 or 2 spots. Short vowels require 2 consonants after them. If there's not 2, make 2. So there's the For the I, we're going to put an I, which can say I just fine right here because it's in the middle syllable. So there's trefission. Let me know in the chat how you did on trefission, please. Wonderful. Okay. So we're getting half and half. Like that one was hard. I did it. That one was hard. I did it. I didn't do it. I got it. I didn't get it. Split half and half. All right, let's try another one of those then. Let's do this one together. This one is spellition, and you can guess what kind of profession this is going to be. This is going to be me. I'm going to call myself a spellition. All right, so sounds. We have s, p, e, l, I, sh, n. Sp, e, l, I, sh, n. All right, consonants. S, p, e, l, I, sh, n. So far, so good. We know what this is going to be. This is going to be an A. That's that C-I-A-N. That means it's somebody's profession. Now all we have is these two vowels left. I want to be right here, which means I have to have two L's, right? If I want this to say its short sound, it requires two consonants after. If there's not two, make two. For the I can say I just fine in the middle syllable. So there's spellition. I'm seriously going to start calling myself a spellition now. I like that word. All right, one more for you. Delition. Delition. Go ahead. Somebody who works in a deli. Delition. 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 Well done. And the first letter is a D like Dan, in case that's hard to hear. All right, so our consonants. D, E, L, I, sh, n. Shun as a profession is spelled C-I-A-N. For the sound, I need two L's, and the I can say I in the middle. Delition. Good. Delition. Okay, now, so today you learned that CI can say, well, says shh when it's toward the end of a longer word and there's a vowel that comes after it. Do you feel like you can recall that enough to teach somebody right after this class? So like right after you hang up, do you think you can remember that CI says shh when it's almost to the end of a longer word and there's a vowel right after it? That's what I recommend. I recommend that you go and tell somebody that really fast, because as soon as you teach somebody, then it just gets solidified so much stronger. And if you can actually verbalize and generate that rule to explain it to somebody else. I recommend that for you today. Hope you're feeling fine. I'm feeling fine about what I saw in the chat. Nobody expects perfection. I mean, you guys see me make mistakes all the time. So we are just all learning together, and I think you made some great progress today. I'm proud of you. All right, my friends, have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.